Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Common Corner. I am currently enjoying a really lovely, sunny Friday afternoon. I think it is the 20. Hmm, let's see if my match lights up. The 29th? The 29th of November, which means that December is near and close. Um, I wanted to do a little bit of an update video. There's a lot of things that I have been kind of yearning this whole week to catch you up on, so I will kind of do just that actually. I thought, why not? Firstly, last week's video was on setting up my new Hobonichi weeks, and I just wanted to show you how it's been going. Um, there's not much that has changed in the weekly, or actually, no, the monthly section. I did end up setting up the key here, and it's been really helpful, which is good. So I don't need to kind of keep flipping into the December monthly section every month going onwards. But this is how it's looking over here. And the weekly section, which in which I'm trying kind of this new layout, is looking pretty good. So I have not tried this layout of dividing my days into the AM, the PM, and the evening. But I have been doing this week, and it has been working out really, really well, which I really love, and I'm really, really happy about it. It is a very functional book, as you can see, and I use it just like that. It's kind of my daily um, companion, and it makes sure that I keep my priorities in check and that I'm working on the right things with my medical school things. So yeah, looking really good, and I'm really, really happy with it. I have kind of started to set up next week. This week I've been working on psychiatry lectures. Next week will be neurology lectures, and then the week after that is when I actually start my placement, my hospital placement. So looking forward to that. And yeah, going well, going swell. Then in my Hobonichi Cousin, there's actually a little bit of an update because I have been slightly struggling with, like, well, the monthly section, actually, to put it very, very simply. I have been struggling with the monthly section because I haven't been sure how I should be using it or how I could be using it from now onwards. Because I introduced this week's into my life this year in August, I've noticed that it has kind of lifted the planning needs from the avec into the weeks. So I do majority of my planning here. My kind of um, main appointments and meetings and so on, they are all recorded in my monthly section, then kind of transcribed over to my weekly section so I know where I need to be on which day. And then I have kind of those memo pages at the very end as well, where I'm doing my individual project checklists and to do lists and so onwards. So that has kind of lifted the need to plan in my avec to the weeks. Because of that, I felt, especially in November, that I was like replicating the information from my weeks into this monthly section. And that's not really, I don't want to be replicating things. I don't need to be replicating things. So because of that, I kind of fell off of keeping up with this monthly section in terms of the actual, days here. In previous months, this looks very different, where I've kind of been still planning in here, and on top of it, keeping track with what's happening in my days, and kind of writing down the important events of the day. And in that sense, this spread formulates a really good picture of how that month was for me overall. And I really like that. I really like that. And I really missed it in November when I haven't been motivated to do that because I felt like I was replicating things. So I was kind of turning away from it. So now we are switching into December in just a few days. But the reason I'm doing this video on a Friday instead of a Sunday is because I'm fully booked for the upcoming weekend and I still want to have something to upload every week, basically. I really like my weekly catch ups with you guys. So, what I did a few days ago is that I set up this kind of planning page, tester page for next year. So, I made this in the January monthly section of my July to December book. And I'm going to be basically moving over my mood chart to the left side instead of the right side here. And then on the other side, I will have a bit of a body tracker, if you will, which includes a couple of kind of parameters in relation to my body that I want to be keeping an eye on. And then I want to have my books that I've read that month or books that I'm reading that month, music that I've kind of listened, and series that I've watched. And then I think in terms of these individual boxes for the days, I will keep having the kind of weather tracker there because that's very helpful for me if I'm noticing a long time dip in my mood. I can kind of check, oh, was it the cloudy weather that was affecting it? And kind of it just facilitates this learning process about myself and my mind. And then I would like to use these boxes as, yes, a little bit of a recall of what happened that day, but more so kind of pointing towards the good thing that happened during that day, leaning towards a gratitude log slightly, but more so kind of focusing on the good things. And that's just, I think it's a healthy practice for anyone, especially on weeks when we're struggling with our minds, which I have been for the last few weeks. This week, I'm feeling finally a bit better, which is lovely. Um, but yeah, especially during those difficult weeks, I would like to have a dedicated space where I can go and focus on the good things that happened that day. Um, and I would hope that this spread could be that for me. The only aspect of my avec which I will keep as a kind of section for planning is gonna be my weekly spreads. And these are less about planning and more about slotting in the sections that I've already planned in my weeks. So basically, if we think about this week, for example, where is it? Here we go. So this is the plan that I've made here, but we can notice that it's very filled with to-do lists and certain things, meeting with someone and um, yeah, basically meetings. But then these specifically don't have time specifications here in my weeks. I just know that I need to meet with this person on Tuesday and seeing this Joe Journals tonight, actually. um, but my brain really struggles to understand what time I have before that, what time I have after that to do other things. So I slot those activities and those plans into this weekly section here with specific time frames for those events. I need to switch over my little tab from Midori to this week. So now in this spread, I know exactly when I need to be doing and what. Here I have film for YouTube, which I'm doing actually after my meeting, and then I'm meeting Joe in the afternoon, and I know I have this little bit of time here between my other meetings and my social activities in the evening, and then I have a bit of time maybe afterwards to prepare for my work. So that's what I'm gonna keep as sort of like a planning section, but my mind always needs to kind of make sense of things. Um, and in my head now, the weeks is becoming my planner. Like it's fully becoming my planner. And my avec is shifting more towards like a life book, a logbook, if you will, rather than a planner. When I first started using the Hobonichi Cousin avec about 1.5 years ago, that is when this book was my everything. So it was my planner and it was my logbook and it was my, habit tracker. Everything was in this one book. But now that I'm kind of settling more and more and more into the analog life, I notice myself having more needs, and my planning needs are more vast now than they used to be before. Vast meaning, I guess, like I have more planning needs now than before. Hence, I need its own designated book for planning. And this book is now becoming my logbook, my things that I just kind of track things in, tracking my kind of things I notice within my body, my mood, with the weather and how it affects my mood, the things that I was kind of grateful for, the media that I gravitated towards. I'm kind of testing the media tracking on this side as well. And then of course in my weekly pages I'm noticing exactly what I did that day. So I can see exactly what my schedule was like. And perhaps I can learn from that that, oh, on this day I felt like this, but my day was really busy. Was I maybe really exhausted and so on. So once again I'm logging exactly what my schedule was for that day, which the Hobonichi weeks doesn't really allow for. And then, of course, I have my daily pages in which I'm tracking my thoughts. I'm providing a space for my thoughts, a calm, comfortable space, um, a blank page, literally, for my everyday thoughts. And today I have been quite busy from morning until now. It's almost 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and the page is still empty, but I'm really excited by this empty page because it means that there's so much, like, it's just a kind way for me to be able to log my thoughts. So now everything is kind of in keeping with this idea of the avec being my logbook, um my life book. Well, yeah, I guess my life book, if I think about it more broadly, but I guess planning is part of your life, so these two together make up my life system. I did describe before that I see my cousin now as my brain, and then the weeks as my second brain. So the second brain is used to organize and plan my life and feel comfortable with what's happening in my life. And then this is to record everything that's happening, like actually happening, and how I feel about it, how my body feels about it, and so on. I guess one more section that I actually haven't talked about it in a while is, yes, the index. And the index, I think I will be moving to the second spread of the avec. So the first spread is showing the exact months that are within this book. So right now it's July to December. But I noticed that I don't look at this as often because this is for future reference. I don't look at it as often as I do the habit or life tracker. And this month I have been tracking exactly like the hours of my sleep and when I go to sleep. And I'm trying to kind of make this as unified as possible to encourage myself to uphold my body clock, my natural kind of body clock. And I think this it would be more useful for me to know which days were Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays, etc. Because on this spread, the colored boxes mean that it's a holiday, usually Saturday or Sunday, or some kind of holiday. But the colored boxes mean Saturday and Sunday. So I would be able to know more information on my kind of sleep tracking, for example, if I had the days here as well. So the weekdays, what day of the week it was. But here, because this spread usually shows the next 6 months after the book, so this is naturally 2025, January to June. But I've just replaced that with the months that are in this avec. But then the dates don't actually match. I mean, the days match, but the days of the week don't match. So long story short, I'm going to be switching around these two. But once again, here I'm tracking. I think I'm going to be mostly tracking my sleep because I think that's what's been most useful. So once again, it's information about my body. It's logging what my body and how my body is existing in this world. So yeah, that is my plan. Um, so this book is slightly evolving as a result of introducing the weeks into my life. I want to show you now a few of my daily pages because I haven't shown you those in a few weeks actually. And then I want to update you on a few stationery things. Just basically fun things that I would want to share to my friends. And I consider the people, the community in the common corner as my journaling and stationery friends. So we shall do that. I'm thinking, when was the last time that I showed my pages to you? Mm, I'm not sure, but we're gonna go from somewhere here. I think it might have actually been on this day. Um, because I was struggling quite a bit with physical illness. I just had the cold a few times in November, and also I was struggling with my mind. I received a few difficult news during November. So there are some more difficult days here, which I'm kind of not yet ready to return to. And I do want to return to them and fill these pages up with my reflections about the day. But I feel like I haven't yet gotten enough distance from those days. But I'm looking forward to coming in and filling this space with the thoughts and reflections about that day. This, and of course, I backfill in red with my red ink. This is backfill, but that was a really lovely day, so it was easier for me to return back to. And I added some images from that day as well, which is nice, onto this little leaflet that I got from a um, like a tavern pub that I was in on that Friday. And then I'm actually going back to a market with Ka this weekend. So with my partner, he has his own jewelry brand. So we're just selling that jewelry at markets. So we're actually going to back to the same one and for art and design markets this upcoming weekend. And we had a great time there a few weeks ago. Gum Designs is actually his brand, if you're interested. It's okay to feel. I had a lovely chat with a friend this day, and it was good and healing. Oh, I don't think I've actually mentioned this. So I got sent by one of my dear friends a um, dip pen, and it's actually a 2 millimeter dip pen by Sailor, and it's really cool because the nib is really easily kind of removable, and you can switch it the other way around, so you're protecting the nib when you're not using the pen. And I was really excited by this, and I've been practicing calligraphy ever since because it has kind of this nib that's, I actually don't know the word for this, but it seems like it's typically used for calligraphy. And I was practicing some with this new pen and with the ink that I also received. And I feel so privileged and so lucky to have such kindness around me that they are feeding into my my interests. This peppermint candy shimmer ink was the one that I received, which you can see here. Then I had my last day of my obstetrics and gynecology placement. I mentioned this already last week, but I think I didn't show you the daily page here. I put this bulldog sticker that I got from a friend a few years ago, actually, and I've been saving it. And somehow during this placement, I felt more like a student doctor than ever before. I've always felt like a medical student, but this time I really felt like I was able to help out the team. So I put this bulldog sticker, bulldog doctor, here with this stethoscope um, to kind of show how I felt on the last day of the placement. I really like English bulldogs, and my partner Ka used to have one when he was a kid. So bulldogs have kind of a special place in our hearts here. Yeah, that was quite kind of cute. Yeah, and then I went to Bristol. There was a conference in Bristol around authors who have written books about the body from some perspective. So most of it was kind of health related books, psychiatry as well, which is really interesting. And there was also a comic book artist who writes this Zip comic. The name of the protagonist is Zip. And all of the superheroes in this comic series, they have superpowers, but to the extent that they're kind of disabilities. So it's a commentary on disability and existing in this world, kind of the modern world with a disability. So super, super, super interesting kind of commentary on that, but also beautifully drawn. And I got some stickers from them. They were only £1 per sheet, and I really wanted to give them more than that because they're quite nicely drawn stickers. And I put here a few just to kind of commemorate that talk that was given during the conference. But yeah, as you can see, I'm backfilling because right after my day in Bristol, I came back to London and I actually went to a concert with Ka, my partner. And the concert was actually by Kruangbin. Um, it's a band that we've been both loving for a really long time, so it was quite special to see it in real life. And yes, this is the L behind the microphone, standing in the middle of a very old cemetery. I'm taking a break from my work at the market and doing a little voiceover for the rest of the video. So I'm going to try my best to keep up with the L from a few days ago. So right after the concert, we came back home. I slept over the night, and the next day I was off to Brussels. I have a friend who's living in Brussels right now, and I hadn't seen her in a while, so this is me catching up with her, walking around Brussels, enjoying my time, and there was not a lot of time for sitting down by myself, but we did do some journaling together, which is what you can see here on this page. But they're very happy memories. I'm really looking forward to also printing out some photos and filling up those pages. And this is now me having come back to London. I have a lot more time on my hands all of a sudden, so the pages are very much filled. But I did mix up these two dates because the 25th was completely blank. I started just writing on that page on the 26th, which was the Tuesday. So I just glued some cardstock on top of them and wrote with my new fountain pen, which I showed you earlier, and that new ink that I had, that shimmer ink. So I quite like how it looks like. Yeah, here I was just showing the fountain pen as well as the syringe that I used to fill up another fountain pen with the same beautiful shimmer ink. And onwards, here we have kind of the most recent pages. So I'm just having a good time journaling and decorating them. And actually, on a few days before I'm doing this voiceover, so I think it was on that Thursday, the 28th, I received an order from Hubman and Chopgirl, and they very kindly sent me a few items to show you guys, and I'm so grateful. And the first things are these tweezers, which I'm which I'm gushing about here on this video, because I have been wanting a pair of these kind of professional sticker tweezers for a really long time, and they had some, and I kind of asked, oh, could I get those in my order as well? So yes, very happy with them. And as a result of that, I actually organized my whole sticker book using these new tweezers. So I'm going to be, well, I have already filmed a clip of my organized sticker book, and I'm going to be uploading it on Instagram Reels hopefully very soon. I did already give a little sneak peek of that a few days ago. And I will show you now the beautiful Happy Mail box that I received from them. So I have not before this received any kind of official Happy Mail. Of course, to be honest, I would count the letters I get from my pen pals as Happy Mail for sure. But I guess a lot of the community refers to Happy Mail as something like stationery that you order online. So this is my first stationery box that I've ordered from online. And I would love to now show you what is inside of it. So Hubman and Chubgirl, they're a family-owned business in Canada, and it seems like they have some kind of ties with Hong Kong, because a lot of the items that I got were very specific Hong Kong food-related items, which are very difficult to find anywhere else. But before I jump into that, let me show you kind of the quote-unquote stationery starter kit that I got, which includes a couple of really cool Tombow pens. I already have a few of these, but only in black and in red. So I'm looking forward to show how I use especially the thinner markers, which are on my, which were just on my left hand there. I'm going to be using a few of them actually to set up my 2025 January to June Hobonichi Cousin avec. And there was also a ruler in there, which was quite cute. I'm generally, like, my style isn't really in the cute section of things, but when it comes to cute, like, stationery related cuteness, as in that ruler just had some cute stationery items on the ruler, I'm all for it. And here come the Hong Kong related items. So I was looking for Hong Kong food stickers in Hong Kong, and I did find a few, but there wasn't a large variety, even in Hong Kong. But then as I was looking through the catalogue of Hopman and Chopgirl, they literally had a bunch of Hong Kong food related stickers. And as you can see here, I've already used up like half of all of the sheets. had a little YouTube live some time ago where I worked on my travel insert for Hong Kong, and I have now been using these stickers in there to decorate some of those pages, and to highlight which foods we tried on each day, and they are very, very nice. And oh, I remember I was just gushing about them in this video. The material of them is also quite cool because they are like matte kind of, not plastic, but like they're not they're like matte thick paper basically. They have a slight shine to them. I don't really know how to describe it in like properly, but I really, really enjoy kind of the quality of them, and they also stick down on my sticker release paper really firmly, which is really cool. And I always look for that because I like storing my stickers in sticker release paper. There was also some washi tape in there, which I haven't opened yet. And some of the other stickers came in these really cute folders. I've seen kind of some other stationery companies have something similar, and I've always thought that is just very cute. So inside of the bigger folder, I had a smaller folder, which then has some more of these like Hong Kong foodie planner stickers, so they fit into like smaller calendar boxes or something like that. And yes, I'm sure that you're going to see me using these, especially when I go back to Hong Kong, hopefully next year at some point. All right, and I think here I'm just gushing about their cute little logo, which I think has the kind of the founders of the stationery company. And once again, just a big thank you to them. And I'm going to be putting a little discount code for their shop in my description box. And I think they're having a big Thanksgiving weekend / Black Friday weekend sale at the moment, in case anyone's interested. But their things are really cute and really good quality. And I just feel nice to be able to support a small business like theirs, a small family business like theirs. And the things that you can see in this big folder on the right side are basically like Hobonichi Weeks kits. So you can use these to decorate your Hobonichi Weeks. And they will kind of fit precisely in the kind of horizontal layout of the weeks. And I'm just thinking here, should I save them when I go back to Hong Kong the next time around, so I could have like 2 weeks in my Hobonichi Weeks of just like full on Hong Kong themed pages. That would be really fun, but I will have to think if I can wait until that long. I probably might not. All right, so I think that is it for the order. I'm kind of slowly integrating all of these things into my daily use. Oh yes, the last thing was that of course I got some weather stickers as well. I'm always looking kind of to change out my weather stickers, because I ran out of them obviously quite quickly because I use them every day to mark out the weather. So I think I'm going to start using these from December onwards because I'm almost done with the ones that I got from Hong Kong. All right. So moving on from here, there was still something else that I really wanted to show you. Something that actually arrived in the mail on this day, on the 29th, which is a present from my dear online friend all the way from Rome. And she said that she would send me a fountain pen from her D-stash, but she actually sent me 3. And I can't even really contain my excitement. I don't really know like how to even kind of, I hope you can hear the smile in my voice. Well, to start from the one that I'm showing you right now, there is a beautiful silver and white Twisby Eco in there with a 1.1 millimeter nib, and it's kind of a stub nib, I think that's what it's called. So it writes kind of with a thicker line and a thinner line depending on how you hold the pen. And then there are 2 beautiful Twisby diamonds in a silver and, well, a silver and see-through color wave. I'm actually not sure what the exact color wave is, but these are both broads, so the other one is still in the box. And I was just talking about how these have a thick, like a bigger nib than any of the other fountain pens that I've ever used before. And now I can say with full confidence, a few days later, that I've now been using these Twisby diamonds, I'm in love with this pen. It writes like no other pen that I've ever had in my collection. Well, it's not really a collection yet, maybe, but I am planning on actually using this pen for the entirety of December because that's how much I'm really enjoying it. And writing with a broad nib is a nice change to a extra fine. Okay, moving on. So I found this little booklet a few days before filming, and it was actually made exactly 2 years prior to this video. And I had stored this in my laptop case, and it had been at the bottom of my laptop case in the side pocket. And it's basically this book of collages that I made 2 years ago in this like group for students at my university, a group for students who want to practice kind of their creativity while studying. And I made this little guy, and that was the time where I was bookless. I was trying to force myself to do everything digitally. I've talked about this time before. It wasn't a very good time. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I was kind of, well, trying to bar myself from going all in for the analog lifestyle, but I eventually caved in, thank goodness. But yes, so this was the time that I did not have a physical book, so just tapping in and doing something with physical paper was such a joy for me at the time. And it's basically a little book of collages, and I really, really wanted to show it to you guys because I feel like this community appreciates little crafting like this. And it starts by saying being face to face, with this sticker as well as some kind of cutouts from a bunch of magazines actually that were available at the little workshop. And from there it opens up to a sentence that says the culture of archiving. And I just thought, when opening this book again 2 years later, what a coincidence that I'm now archiving my whole life like in an analog way, you know, in my physical books, where at the time I was trying to do all of this digitally on Notion mostly. So I just think that that's quite amazing. And there's some little pieces of text about the culture of archiving behind the archiving word, which I'm reading out now, but I actually can't see that from my phone screen where I'm editing the video. So yes, but I just thought it was like a beautiful reminder of how full circle I've come. I was making this book and I was drawn to these words of archiving and analog, and I enjoyed making this physical little booklet, and now 2 years later that's kind of my daily life. And I made these cool, I guess are they called Dutch doors? I'm actually not sure. Well, where you can kind of flip over either the top or the bottom half of the page, and you get kind of different views on the spread all in all. And then you just get kind of these random collections of things. And I actually really like this spread at the Desert Romance, even though it doesn't really say much, but I really enjoy just how it looks and how it makes me feel. And then this spread is actually really, really meaningful to me. The little piece of text that I just pointed out says, change your perspective of home. And then when you flip it around, it says, finding home again. And I think 2 years ago, at the time, I was really not certain about how I felt about living in London, and I was missing my home in Finland, but also whenever I would go back to visit, I wasn't having a great time, and I was just confused on what home is, what does it mean to me, and how to find that feeling of home again. So I wrote here to change my perspective of home to be maybe something that's not so rooted in the physical space, but rather in a collection of feelings or little moments that I can curate for myself wherever I am in the world. And that's kind of where the reflection comes in. And I felt like it's time to start finding home again and that feeling of home. And here this is feels a bit dark in terms of how the little spread looks, and it also says, when am I leaving this place? But this is mostly actually inspired by the movies of Wong Kar-wai. I was watching a lot of his movies back in those days. He's a director from Hong Kong, and all of his films are they're very interesting. Actually, I could do a whole video on that. And then this page has a sticker which says quite a lot of things, and I don't want to speak some of it out loud because I don't want to curse on this channel. But it does say that I don't like scented candles very much. But then I had written in very, very small text saying I actually do like them quite a lot, just to make sure that the future version of myself looking at this little pamphlet doesn't think that I didn't like candles, scented candles specifically. And then finally, this spread has a person reading a microphone that kind of folds up and it will break in a little bit, and I'm gonna spend some time fixing it. But when you open it up, the microphone is supposed to kind of stand up as if it was held by the person on the left towards the two people on the right, and the person on the left asks, "What is your favorite thing?" And then the other people say, "Remembering and being remembered." And this is really interestingly once again ties into my current daily practice of archiving my life, where it helps me remember and note down everything that happened. And also, once I've passed from this life, I hope that my notebooks can be left behind and I can be remembered through my notebooks. All of my daily activities, the things I was thinking about, my worries and hopes and dreams can all be remembered through the pages of my notebooks. So that is my favorite thing. It is remembering things, is looking back on things, but also looking at what is happening now, archiving it so that I can remember it in the future, and hopefully all of that can be enjoyed by other people beyond me. And at the back I had written a little book of meaning, and it really is really meaningful, and I'm so happy that I found it again. But other than that, I don't have much else to show you. I did want to really quickly though just say thank you to my friend once again. She also sent me some little ephemera in addition to the fountain pens that I showed you earlier, and I'm sure that these will get featured in my pages of the Hobonichi avec and also the future ones, time and time again. They are really, really beautiful pieces that she sent me, and I'm super grateful. So quite a lot of mail opening in a way in this video, but I just really wanted to talk about it to someone. So the next video will be hopefully me setting up my Hobonichi Cousin avec. So, well, the first part of it. I did a changing books in a 3-part series last June in preparation to change over my avec, the first half of the year avec to the next year. Next half of the year. So I want to do the same thing once again. So I will be starting from next week with the part 1 of the Changing Book series, in which I will be covering or making the cover of my avec. I always customize it. I always make it look like me. So I want to show you how exactly I do that. So that will be shown in next week's video. Alright, but that is it for this week. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. And here I'm just admiring and gushing about my 2024 second half of the year avec, and how I'm just slightly sad to let it go, but also ready to move on to new pages. Alright, so with that, I shall say you goodbye, and just briefly before I go, in the next clip you will see the environment in which I have been recording this voiceover. And with the picture of my December cover page, I shall say bye bye and see you next time.